Okay, this is really depressing. Somebody made boobies.
Boobs. Boobs.
Boobs.
Well, there's a I don't know how it is in New Jersey, but right now there's like a coin shortage going around, Dylan. So, like, they want them quarters. A lady said she
Are
wants
are they
pennies.
are they paying more for the quarters?
Oh, that's a good question. That's I don't know.
Because because then who gives a shit about their coin shortage if they're not paying more?
Yeah, you're right, man. Uh, I- uh, fucking Daniel was talking about he wants to he thinks the start of the like they're trying to like make a moneyless economy, and yeah, he might be kind of right about that.
I mean, they're not trying to do anything. The convenience of a moneyless society is driving it that way naturally. It was always going to go in that direction.
Oh yeah, ever since Cash App came out, I was like, oh, that's the end of going to the bank.
Cash App, Cash App, Cash App, fucking PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal is more secure.
Yeah, PayPal's older too.
Yeah, I mean it is old. Yeah, it's like the first
Yeah.
one of its. It's like how they say Phoenix University is like the Harvard of online education. Guess you can say the same thing about PayPal.
Yeah, except PayPal's good. Fucking Phoenix University.
It's a fucking Phoenix University.
Get the hell out of here.
No, I go to GMC, which it's not bad, man. I heard you
Hey,
in school, man. What are you going to school for?
advertising.
Oh, advertising. I think you'd be great at that. Shit.
I love selling shit.
Yeah, dude. Maybe you could teach Daniel some shit. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. Daniel's pretty good at selling shit. He's the only person I know that figured out how to sell weed legally. So I'll give him his kudos when it's due. I'm going to school for kinesiology.
For whatology?
For kinesiology, the study of the body and how it works and how to assess like neurotic pain and neurotic damage just by the way people
Oh,
walk and
oh,
like
okay. So
almost like
you're a nerd.
I want to go that far to be a nurse. I'm actually doing it.
No, nerd.
Oh, nerd. Yeah, yeah. I'm a bit of a nerd.
Nerd.
All right, I'm back.
Go back away somewhere. We were
Nah.
having a good conversation. Not playing.
So we finally got our tech up.
Oh,
And,
about fucking time, Daniel.
dude, man. Sometimes I'm Tony Stark in Iron Man 3, okay? Some days you had them days, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know
Some
what I'm
days
saying?
you have them days.
Hey,
Only some.
I gotta run to the. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Oh, dear God.
We're going to record eventually.
We're actually recording now, man.
I know, but we're actually going to.
No, go piss real quick, dude. We're going to say some shit when you get back. Go shake that lizard. Loch Ness.
We're gonna say some shit now.
Right?
We're gonna
All
say
right.
some shit now.
Yeah. Y'all talking shit about me when I was making my coffee with my Keurig. I heard that.
Nah, he was talking shit.
Yeah, he better talk
Actually,
shit.
no, I was talking shit.
hmm Well, like I always say, if I'm talking about you, it means I care about you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Typically, men show their affection in more abusive ways.
Oh, so I'm just really affectionate.
You're really affectionate. Yeah.
Woohoo!
All right.
Take that, therapist.
Yeah. Be careful, man. Uh,
It's a
about
joke.
there. About
It's
a
a joke.
therapist.
It's a joke. I don't actually go see a therapist.
Oh, really? You should.
I probably should, yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, not covered.
Oh. I'll be your therapist, Dylan. Me and Kai. Tell us about your feelings and your early childhood trauma.
That's
No
where it
thanks.
starts.
No
That's where
thanks.
that's where it starts. That's right.
Hey,
So we've been on a short hiatus for a little bit, and we got Kai-Wong with us. Kai-Wong is my ward. I make that joke all the time. People are like, "You have a ward?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a ward." Does that offend you? Did I call you my ward, Kai?
At first it did. I was like, what does that word mean? But then I looked it up and I was like, you know what? That's fucking pimp tight.
It is pretty pimp tight. And you really are my fucking ward. I mean, you act in the capacity of a ward. So it's like,
Okay, so how does one act to be in the capacity of the ward? That
like,
didn't make.
like Wong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Wong is Doctor Strange's ward, right? Right, Dylan?
mm, no, I think you misunderstand what a ward is.
All right. Well, then thrill us with your acumen.
A ward is typically, in the context of fantasy, a child who is taken in by the family of a victor in warfare,
I,
basically as a prisoner.
You're
And
somewhat right, but a blonde-haired, blue-eyed chick sent me the definition yesterday, so you're somewhat right.
She,
Too soon.
uh,
I feel like I'm missing context here, but at the same time, that's okay.
Yeah, you are missing a little bit of context. And I don't want to get into it because
Nope, that is totally okay.
one day I'm
Some
going to write a book called The Adventures of Daniel's Wiener or something like that.
Daniel, I speak for the world. Don't do that.
thank God. Somebody said it, not me.
Don't do that.
Well, then I'll have to name it something different, but my pecker has gotten me into some weird situations, my friends. Mm. Kai knows that's true. No, that didn't sound right at all.
I, I,
Yeah, whoa.
well, if Kai is your ward,
Oh, no. Oh,
Don't finish that sentence, Dylan. Don't do it.
I don't need to finish that sentence. Everybody listening just figured out what I meant.
jeez. What's so funny about it is people who get offended at jokes like that on themselves, because I find that the funniest jokes I'm the butt of anyway. But most
Mm.
times you find out when people get all sensitive about jokes like that, those are the people who actually have homosexual tendencies or some stupid shit at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, the people insecure about that shit are insecure about it because they feel
Yeah, exactly. That shit pans out every time, too. Every
Facts.
time.
it. Yep.
It's like, whatever, dude. Anyway, yeah, so we've been away for a while for appropriate reasons. I mean,
And probably inappropriate reasons.
Um, yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I've been redirected in my life for a little while to refocus on my spirituality a little bit. So I'm doing a little bit of that. I've been doing that a little bit. You know, skirting with suicide a few times. It's always fun because it never works. Fucking ever, dude. Ever. Except that one time.
I'm
That
pretty
one.
sure every time I've tried to commit suicide, Daniel, it probably worked, but you're so stubborn one.
Yeah, it keeps rubber banding back. But anyway, yeah, that, and it's been like 2 years since my mom passed, so it was like a 15th is always a bum time. But it wasn't so bad this year, you know. Uh,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, it was a little bit of a dark cloud there for a minute because it's like, oh shit, it's been 2 years, dude. 2 years. But the cloud passed very very quickly because after you mourn somebody or quite a few people, my life has always been surrounded by death. But after a while, you man, you have a choice. And the choice is being me and Kai just binge watched Picard. And I know you probably haven't made it to the end of it, have you, Dylan?
I haven't started Picard.
Okay. Well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but
Please don't, because I do actually plan to watch it.
Well, let me
well,
tell you this: that show was great, and I'm not a Trekkie like Daniel likes to say, but uh, I've watched Picard, and honestly, dude, I was dreaming about Picard last night when I was asleep. I was like, man, that's a really good show if I'm dreaming about it. And then I like the way I like Picard's philosophy. The dude is a beast. So
Yeah, he's not a full blown Trekkie yet, but he's got the needle in the vein. But I don't want to ruin it, and I'm not. But the overall theme of Picard is dealing with trauma, which I think was wonderful. Past trauma, dealing with especially if you have people in your life that are no longer in your life, dealing with the notion of the things that were unsaid. You know,
Hmm.
wish I could have said this, wish I could have done this.
Right.
And the idea of dealing with death. I mean, dealing with letting somebody go, or yeah, having to move forward with death in your life. And they did it very, very, very beautifully. And I'm not going to ruin it, but there's a key character at the end, which at the end of it, Kai.
Okay.
I'm not. Kai looked at me. He says, pause it, because I might cry. And it don't mean I'm a bitch if I cry.
I did say that.
And I was like, hey, don't worry about it, dude, because I bawled like a baby
I
when I saw it.
I'm a weird one. I have only ever been brought to tears by one show.
What
What's
was
that?
that?
Steins Gate, actually.
Really?
What is Steins Gate about? I've heard a lot about it. I've never like watched the show.
Time travel.
Oh, I can see how that goes dark. Every
Yeah.
time travel movie ever has been like, phew, there's a reason why we don't do this.
Yeah, Steins Gate is like 50% really, really funny, and then 50% this is terrible. Oh my God, everything sucks.
And it's a TV show, not a movie.
Yeah, it's a Japanese anime.
Oh, I'll have to check that out because I'm an anime guy. The douchebag behind me is like, oh, I can't watch cartoons, and I was like, dude,
I'm actually
cartoons.
I'm actually working through Steins Gate right now, douche.
Oh, okay. Well, good on
Stein
you.
Yeah, I actually initially gave up on Steins Gate the first time I watched it and went back through it, and
And in
yeah,
on
it's
in
fantastic.
in honesty, I would have too if I'd just seen one episode and I hadn't heard from my nephew and you that I needed to stick it through.
Yeah.
And after a few episodes, when you when you give them time, it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, getting into time travel and getting into like the ending of Picard, one of the key characters says something to the effect in regards to being let go of. He says that a butterfly that lives forever is not a butterfly at all, you know. And then the show kind of comes to its conclusion. But you talk about a time travel show making you cry, and Picard dealing with trauma and letting people go. It's like, why are we as a species? Um, Even if you go back to ancient scriptures, we are predisposed to examine the idea of time travel
Well,
itself.
I think it's a really human concept to want to go back, fix your mistakes, right the wrongs, wonder what would have been different. I mean, that's just how we're built. We're built to regret.
Yeah. Well, built to regret. I think you might want to rework that, but
Built
I-
to reflect.
built to reflect. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
built to. I think also the reason that life works in cycles sometimes is, so that you catch the things that you could have, should have, or would have done in the last time you were in similar situations, and hopefully, so in a way, we do time travel. If you lived as long as me, and Kai keeps pointing out that I'm getting older, and other people too, and the mirror has also said you're getting older. So I've been through quite more cycles than you guys, but you'll find in life, especially if you keep a journal, you end up in very similar situations that you always have. It typically works in 7-year cycles, but if you if you get
Shit,
cut,
I don't want to relive these last 7 years.
that's the beauty of the cycles, though, is because when you notice it, you can do a little bit of time travel in a way, catch where you're at in the cycle and what you did the last time wrong, and you can change it. But that's me, man. I have noticed that as I've starting to reach this new decade of my existence. It's kind of cool, but hurts like fuck though. sometime.
Mhm. Okay, this is really depressing. Somebody made boobies.
Boobs. Boobs.
Boobs. That's not depressing. I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
No, it's not depressing. It's just heavier than I was expecting.
Yeah.
well, we had discussed earlier that I wanted to start taking us into a direction of, whatever. And while getting more back into my spirituality, I'm about to sit down and start this novel. Um, that is going to deal with a lot of these issues. So I'm really in that headspace, of these type of topics because I have to be until this novel's finished. It's going to be a good one too, right, Kai?
Yeah, but it's gonna be a good book. Yeah, man. I really do. I think it's gonna be good, man. Probably gonna be. I think it's gonna be better for me because I've lived these last couple months with you and seen your ups and downs, man. And I've had them too. I'm not perfect, but I feel like writing this book will help get get your mind refocused back to where you used to be.
Well, the intention of it is for other people, you know, for other people to read it, you know, because we joke and we laugh, and the three of us anyway, me and you, Dylan, that's what we've currently up until now been known for, is just goofing around. And it's like, whenever we turn the mic off, we got lives that we have to deal with shit.
Hey, hey, speak for yourself. I have no life.
Yeah, he's a pimp. Remember?
That's right. That's right. But it's cool. I mean, I don't want. If there's anything, Dylan, you know this too, man. I've tried to come to this as real as I can be. That's why a lot of people either hate me or love me. Is that when they hear me, they either go, that guy's saying some shit that I think and don't have the balls to say, but at least somebody else thinks it, you know, and maybe it gives them the courage to to be more vocal in their life with their boundaries and their personal thoughts and feelings. But it's also, you know, like when I did that, one of the first breakout shows I did with Ocelli was about addiction, where, and I'm very open about my addiction issues, and it's like, dude, if me putting myself out there like that and bleeding on a microphone reaches one person who didn't have the resources that I did, in the support team and support structure that I do to, get up the next day, put your pants on, and face the sun. If it helps one person, then man, my wounds and my scars were worth every fucking bit of it. You know what I mean? Every bit of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just me. Just me. Which gets into I haven't talked to you about this yet, I don't think, Dylan. Kai knows a little bit about it, but the recent event that happened with me in Savannah a few weeks ago.
Um, I don't think I know what you're referring to. No.
Kai?
Okay. So he was going down to Savannah. I'm just gonna make this simple, sweet, and put the last where needed. He was going down to Savannah to kill some vampires, right? And
Not
No.
just kill vampires.
kill
What
vampires. No,
what else were you gonna go do?
he was gonna go to strip club, but he talked himself out of
I don't go to strip clubs, man. We've had this discussion. I went down there privately, because usually Kai goes with me. But whenever I said I'm going to Savannah, I was like, no, no, I have to do this some stuff alone. So I went down there for some personal spiritual reasons, and to reflect, look back on life, and look where I'm going and shit like that. And something completely unexpected, but anybody who knows my story will know that it was completely ironic as shit too. Happened while I was there. So Kai, from a from person on the outside looking in, you could tell Dylan what happened.
Yeah. So actually, he like he said, he was like, "You can't come on a cool kids trip," and he left me. He left me. One Robbins. And what time was it at night? I'm pretty sure you remember the exact time. What time was it?
It was 1:30 a.m.
1:30 a.m. and he put this message up on Facebook or a post, and it was like, This dude's fibbing. But honestly, after he came back and told me he saved a man's life. I mean,
Oh, yes, okay. I am familiar with that.
Okay. Yeah.
I
And,
wasn't sure if I was thinking of the right thing.
yeah. I mean, and I don't know if I saved the guy's life or not. And even if that was the case,
the
uh,
attempt is all that matters.
and again, uh, you had to be there. I mean, it was. And Dylan, both of you could probably tell by the tone of my voice, it was a very profound event for me. Um, but so Savannah's nightlife is, I mean, it doesn't stop. Downtown Savannah is, God, Savannah's such a beautiful city. I love it. I used to say Atlanta was my city, but now I think I'm going to adopt Savannah as my stomping grounds.
My baby.
My baby. Um, uh, it is a beautiful, beautiful area, beautiful town, and I love to being near the water and all that. But at night, it just, God, it comes to life in the South. But you have these squares, and it's funny because there used to be 24 squares in Savannah, which anybody who's seen Forrest Gump, the scene where he's on the bench and he's telling the story, that's actually in the downtown squares of Savannah where that was shot. So if you've seen Forrest Gump, you've kind of seen a little bit of Savannah. Um, Also, I highly recommend anybody watch Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil to get a good idea of what Savannah is like, because that movie is very accurate because it's a true story about how eclectic it is. There's people who walk invisible dogs and people who have, flies tied to them, and it's very eccentric in Savannah. It's beautiful, the culture clash. Um, but the nightlife is great. And I don't do bars. I've never been a bar hopper except shortly after my divorce. I did it for a few months, but there's bars down there, and I was kind of walking around. Um, I was gonna leave. I mean, something. I was supposed to leave hours before to go to my hotel, but something kept telling me to keep walking around. This little small, still voice, and I kept walking around this area called Ellis Square, and there's a club there called 51 Degrees, something to that effect. And even at 1:30 a.m., like the line to get into this club is just, it wraps around the block. It's so, I guess it's a hot spot. But so I'm at Ellis Square, which is, somewhere in the middle of the squares, and it's kind of got a grassy area. And these two guys come out of the club swinging at each other, and they land a couple of hits, on each other. It's pretty rough. And they were near like a construction zone. And of course, you got all your hipsters down there screaming, "Fight, fight!" like we're in high school. You guys remember that?
Yup.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. And these guys, like after a couple of slugs, they're coming dangerously close to me, and I'm like, oh crap. They're gonna come bump into me, and then it's gonna become insanity. And so I was like, all right, it's time for me to head to the parking lot, head to the parking deck. And as I was making my way towards the parking deck, one of the guys, he's like, obviously they were drinking. Um,
Yeah.
One of the guys was, I, I, want, I don't believe in violence unless it's a self-defense. So when I say this, just take it with a grain. But he was going to be more of a man about it, which is, hey, this guy's got a problem with me. We've already, thrown some blows near quote unquote civilians. Let's take it to the middle of the square where there's plenty of room, plenty of grass, and nobody else is going to get dragged into this. So he did that. Like he went to the square. So it was, stand up guy, as much as you can be staggering out of a club drunk, in a fist fight. And you know what I'm saying? And the other guy
Yeah.
starts coming into the middle of the square, and they're going to finish their business, so to speak. And the one guy takes his shirt off, and he squares off with the opponent. And I was like, I don't even want to see this. I don't watch boxing or anything like that, so I just don't want to see two dudes beat the shit out of each other. It's just not why I'm here. And so he takes his shirt off, and the other guy with the shirt on gets in real, real close. And from the angle I was at, it just looked like a love tap underneath the guy's heart, right? And
Mhm.
and then that guy and his three buddies, they dart off, man, down the street into the darkness. And the guy in the middle of the square with his shirt off kind of staggers. And now I'm paused a little bit. and his friends come in close, and then they stagger, and he's staggering. Like, and I was like, okay, whatever. They finish their business, and he's still drunk or whatever. And then as they got closer to the corner of the square, his friends around him, screamed, he's been stabbed. Right. Woof. Now, this is extremely ironic because Kai knows more of the intimate details, which is not for public consumption, but Kai knows that the purposes for my visit to Savannah tie in directly to events that happened to me 7 years ago, which was what, Kai?
Thought it wasn't for public consumption.
No details, but there's a guy who gets stabbed.
Oh
It
yeah.
is because
Love.
love, and like 7 years ago, I was stabbed several times.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you said they didn't want no details. I was trying to be like,
I mean, no other party names and shit like that.
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
no, yeah.
so like something automated happened, and if you've ever had post-traumatic stress disorder or you've been in shock, when it happens and you have a resurgence of it, time literally stops, and your heart rate, you don't think, you just react. It's muscle memory, right? So the computer in my head is, you know, okay, he's been stabbed. It was directly underneath his heart. It might have gotten his heart for all we know. What needs to happen? Pressure on the wound. And his other friends, they come out of the club with him, so they were drunk. They didn't know what to do. They kept trying to grab him, put him down, put him up, and something just took me over, and I ran over there, flew over there where my body did. I was just along for the ride, and yeah, put pressure on the wound, held pressure there. His eyes were going all over the place. His heartbeat was very erratic, which is going to cause him to bleed faster. And I locked eyes with the guy, and I told him my name was Daniel. Asked him what his name was, and he told me his name was Chris. And of course, his friends, they're hysterical and they're getting in close, so it's causing him to panic, which is not good for the situation. So I had to raise my voice with the crowd, and they listened because whenever I use my big boy voice, it's somebody who used to act, I know how to project very well. But I got him away, and then me and him did breathing techniques. I walked him through, smell the rose, blow out the candle, smell the rose, blow out the candle, to slow his heart rate down. And I pulled the shirt away from him just to make sure that the blood was still red, not black or anything like that. And it felt like an eternity, but for however long, this guy's life was literally in my hands, and whenever he would look away, I kept having to say, look at me, look at me, don't look at anybody else, look at me, we're here, this is happening, and when I started to see like lights around, that okay, now the ambulance and the cops are getting through the crowds and everything, he looked at me, and everybody who's spoken to me about this, I've mentioned this about the look in this guy's eyes, and in that moment, I was like, Jesus Christ, this was me 7 years ago. This is exactly how I would have been looking at somebody had anybody been there to help me. And he said, I didn't think I would go out like this. And dude, it was a life altering experience, for me, no doubt for him. But I forget exactly what I said now, but I was like, no, this is not how you go out, But yeah, and then felt like an eternity, but eventually EMT did get there, and they took over where I left off, and I stayed there and waited and made sure they got him in the ambulance and all that, and then I had to deal with the police and the investigators and walk him through the crime scene and all that. But it was extremely, and Kai can attest to it. He can say amen to it, for the purposes and intents that I went down to Savannah, for that to happen at that moment, was just too synchronistic to not smack of some type of divine author out there somewhere writing a script.
I can attest to that. I'll say amen. Amen.
It was wild. It was time travel, maybe. I don't know. Well, anyway, I got that out.
The universe has its ways. I mean, even if it doesn't do it intentionally, it has its ways.
Okay, well, the three of us are sitting here talking about it as outside observers. What do you two philosophically think about this type of a situation?
Um, I tend to think everything happens randomly. The only reasons that we ascribe, the only reason for things happening are the reasons we ascribe to them, and general cause and effect. But you found a situation that you needed in a moment that you needed it. It was kind of perfect. And I mean, terrible, but exactly, it sounds like it was exactly what you needed.
Kai, and put the mic closer to your mouth, Kai.
All right. Well, um, yeah. So I kind of agree with Dylan. I believe everything happens for a reason, and I don't believe in coincidence because why would we? Why should we? I mean, um, so the fact that you were there at that point in time, especially with your past trauma that you personally had to go through, and what the reason you were down there for, I just feel like it was needed to open up open you up a little bit to reality, because maybe I feel like you were living in a box, you know.
Mm, I'll take a little bit of both of you guys. I mean, I think Dylan is right that it does. Oh, hang on, I'm getting a phone call from David DePuma.
Oh boy.
Hey, what's you guys want me to answer it and we could record with him?
Nah, I gotta go soon.
Yeah, you're right. I think both of you may be right. I mean, yeah, Dylan, you're right. Things do happen quote unquote randomly. However, it is up to us to ascribe meaning to them if we so
Exactly.
choose. Um,
Exactly.
um, and I choose to ascribe profound meaning. I'm still sifting through what those meanings are. But then again, even if you believe in, a clock makerless universe, you can't tell me that the precision of the facts and the 7-year timing could possibly be random completely, Dylan.
Where do you get the 7 years number? Because
Um,
I was under the impression that the 7 year cycle thing was something you kind of came up, like made up for
no,
yourself.
no, not at all. There's a lot of philosophers that talk about things in your life happening in 7-year cycles. But the 7-year cycle for me was 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I was stabbed, and it had to deal with personal matters that were echoed in this recent trip to Savannah. It echoed it way too much. And Dylan, you don't know what they all are, but Kai does. So Kai can say right now, either call bullshit on me or say I'm telling the fucking truth.
Yeah, you're telling the truth, man.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I mean, uh, no, I don't know whether it was completely random or whether there's some divine precision to it. I without all the, I don't know. I couldn't give you a definitive answer, obviously. I don't know. I just tend to come from the place that we ascribe we ascribe meaning to chaos that sometimes the meaning isn't there. Sometimes we're just looking for a way to make sense of everything, and it's hard to tell where that begins and actual precision
yeah.
ends.
Yeah, and I think that in situations like this, one could be tempted to begin to do like a number 23 Jim Carrey thing and try to sift through every single detail. And
That's what you do.
I don't think I do it to like a point of lunacy. I think I do it to a point of efficiency with things.
So you don't think you drive yourself crazy with your thoughts sometimes?
Oh, I think everybody does that. I think I'm
Uh,
just more,
can confirm.
yeah, everybody does that. I think I'm just more meticulous with it and vocal about it than most people.
Can
Uh,
confirm.
but I don't do it to the point of erratic, nonsensical. fruitlessness. I do try to decode everything and find what the ultimate morals of a story is, whether it be an incident like this or whatever, because I mean, that's what we're here for, is to make meaning of this
Life.
existence. Yeah, of life.
Yeah.
That's what we're
No,
here for.
that's exactly what we're here for. Life only has meaning if we give it meaning.
Hmm.
Exactly.
And I choose to have meaning to my life, and I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm, and one of the thoughts that I had was in that moment, because leading up to it, I did have my ass on my shoulders about, my personal stuff for a little bit. For a few days, I was like sulking about my own shit and why God, type of thing. Why me? Um, but in that moment, with another person's life literally in my hands, I everything that's ever happened to me clicked into place, and I was like, if I suffered and endured all the pain that I did, and it was solely for this moment, to give this young kid an opportunity to live life, then in that moment I came into a place of perfect peace. And it was no longer, why God did you let me go through those things? It was, thank you, God, for putting me through those things. And I choose to put the meaning that, um, sometimes we suffer to save, maybe to save one life, maybe, and who knows what he's going to go do with his life, after that. Who knows? Maybe he'll go and, invent some cure to some uncurable disease, and, I'll never be in a history book, um, but maybe he will, and or am I okay with that? And I am, man. It was certainly just what I needed at just the right time for that situation. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Sounds good to me.
yeah. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe we, hopefully, and I hope that if anything, as I grow older and move forward, that in times of controversy, which God, I hope most of my days of strife are over. I hope they are. I hope that I have ease from here on out. But in the event that I go through more storms, I hope that I have the, wisdom to retain the experience of that, and during the storm go, this is for a greater good. And so I accept it and
Well,
lean into it.
yeah. Wallowing is wallowing is healthy for a moment. Don't wallow for long, but wallowing for a moment is healthy.
Yeah.
Um, if you if you go through everything assuming that, this will work out, you need to wallow a little bit sometimes. It is good, but yeah, I mean, always keep in the back of your mind it gets better.
Yeah. Which is funny. That was a saying in Picard, is nursing something for too long becomes detrimental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You, know, you start to pick at a scab after a while,
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Good talk. Good talk.
Seriously.
Uh,
I feel like there's like if
this was actually helpful.
Yeah, I mean, right. Go ahead, Kyle. What were you about to say?
I was just I was always told growing up not I was always told growing up that if you come from the struggle and if you come from hurt, don't complain about the bruise. You know what I'm saying? Because it's temporary. So
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, if you let it be temporary.
and all
That
things in life are temporary, and that's just my beliefs.
that's the thing. Wallow long enough to feel better. Don't wallow too long.
Yeah.
Wallow long enough to heal from that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick at the scab enough to where it bleeds to where you go, it's time to let this bitch scab over and
Yeah,
heal.
scab over and heal, and then it'd be a cool scar.
Be a cool scar, yeah.
But don't complain about the bruise,
Yeah, don't complain about
because
the bruise.
there's gonna be a lot of things that happen in life that aren't a lot. We as humans have a weird way of like wanting to control things because we want to control our life. But once we realize that it's impossible and nothing is in control, life is a lot easier. And that's kind of how I live my life by that philosophy. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
laid back, so
And that's cool that you mentioned that because somebody else recently was telling me I'm a control freak, and and I am. I admit that. I totally
Mhm.
admit that. I'm very Doctor Strange-ish, very
Yeah,
much of a control freak.
fucking guilty.
Yep. Yeah, and it's okay, and that's okay.
that's
But
just why people live their life, man, and you
it,
can't fault them for that.
No, I'm
You
a
can't be like,
control
you
freak.
can't sit there and wag your finger like you shouldn't try to do that because it's their life. Let them do with it what they
yeah,
will.
but
Yeah.
and I know you got to run soon, Dylan. So just you let me give me a 10-minute stopper point whenever. Um,
You're at your 10 minute.
I love this guy. Dude. Where does he
Dylan,
come?
yeah, dude. Hey, when I come up to Jersey for a while, we're definitely hanging out, Dylan. Just so you know.
Yeah,
But
hey, that's fine.
yeah, we're gonna have
D-
some fun. But
Don't secretly get me high, but we can hang
oh,
out.
no, I would never do that. But I will get you high with your permission.
Yeah, no. I was growing up, man. I grew up. I was the youngest out of 5 kids. So growing up, my first time smoking a joint, I didn't know what I was smoking. They said, "Oh, it's a cigarette." You know what I'm saying? And I smoked it. I was so high, I threw up all over.
Yeah,
I was stoned, man.
yeah, I would
I'm
never trick somebody into that
Nah,
shit.
yeah,
I am
don't
a
go. It's unethical, man. Don't go against somebody's free
Yeah.
will.
I am a boring straight edge and proud of
Uh,
it.
It's
we'll get
good, man. You stay away from a lot of temptation that way.
yeah
Yep.
we'll
Yeah,
get you there, Dylan. But no,
I
but
know. I know. He hears straight edge and he thinks, "Ooh, somebody to tempt."
but
Fucking temptress.
Peer pressure, peer pressure.
hey, come here. I got a sag nut for you.
Fucking temptress.
Should have took the candy bar. No.
But no, and me and Kai-Wong will probably do a recording whenever you got to jump Dylan about this because he's Native American and uh, I've been well, I would say I've been exposing you to a lot of culture here lately, right?
You opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Okay, it's mutually beneficial. But today I got to take him to this place in Georgia, Dylan, called Indian Springs. Look it
Oh,
up.
God, dude, it's the best water in the world. And when you go there, I don't know if energy, if you feel energy, which I'm pretty sure you got to, but the energy there, man, it's wonderful.
Yeah, and anybody listening, look it up, Indian Springs in Georgia. The place was a Native American area that was shared with some of the earlier pioneers, and it's a riverbed that comes from a lake, but there's an underground aquifer, and the water goes through all the good stuff, the minerals and the vitamins, the nutrients, and it comes up in this spring. And there's a dome. There's like a not a glass dome over it, but it's protected. But people come from all over the country with jugs and jugs and jugs to fill it up because this water is known for its healing properties. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Kai is going to know about. We'll do a report at the end of the week because we filled up how many 5 gallons? Three.
15 gallons of water, man. And
So
we
we're
probably drank about a gallon while we were there, straight out the
yeah.
tap.
And it tastes it smells like sulfur, like rotten eggs, but it's the best
I wouldn't
water,
say rotten eggs. I would just say like fresh boiled
fresh
eggs.
boiled egg.
Because
And
it doesn't have that rotten smell. It,
right.
it smells like clean rotten. It's not,
Yeah.
not rotten eggs. It smells like clean hard boiled eggs. But
Yeah.
you take your first gulp and you'll get a burp because I guess it's something to do with sulfur.
Yeah.
You get that first burp and it's just like, oh, did I just eat some hard boiled egg? I just
Yeah.
ate an Easter egg.
Yeah, but these springs are known for their healing properties, and people came from all over, and they even built temples around it and shrines around it now, to where people really have. And every time you're down there, Kai, as we go more, as people are down there at the spring filling up, you'll hear more and more stories of miracles of people who were cured of cancer, were cured of polio, and shit like that. I mean, it's miraculous. But so I took him down there today so we could get charged up on our water, and we went into the river where there's a bunch of rocks and everything. And this is getting back to being a control freak. and there's a bunch of algae, and I told him, 'cause first time I went there, I was like 6 or 7 years old, and every time I went into that creek or that stream, I have slipped and busted my ass on algae. Now today I didn't actually, so hey, but me and him being spiritualists, we went into the river, and he did his thing, and I did my thing, and I sat on a rock, and got into my lotus position, and did some meditating, and no earbuds in, just listening to the stream of the water, and was thinking about that whole thing about trying to control things.
That water.
Uh, um, I mean, what
No,
I
no. The answer I was looking for was no. But
no,
go
it was
ahead.
closer.
All right.
Uh, but while I was there, one of the messages that was coming to me was, go with the flow. Just
It's the way of the thou, man. Way
go
of
with
the
the flow.
thou.
And these are things I know.
I know. I know you know, but you have a hard time understanding these things. It's like you're a smart guy, but you just too smart. Something you think yourself into like a little box. It's like you're not that box. You better
But,
than that.
well, it gets back to Strange and the Ancient One, where she says you can't beat a river into submission.
Oh, you gotta flow with the.
Flow, flow. But yeah, so and just listening to the sound of it, and I was like, man, this water's not isn't crying out, "Oh God, why me?" You know what I mean? And it's hitting some hard edges, but it's flowing, and it's unstoppable, and it's shaping things, and I'm in the middle of it, and
I'll say this. When I was there earlier, I've been I sprained my ankle, which I'm pretty sure it wasn't actually a sprain. It was probably like a crack or something. But Dylan, man, every time it heals and the swelling goes down, I'll do something to pop it out of place. And you can ask Daniel. I mean, I was limping these last couple of days, but when I went there today with these flowing rocks, and I fell a couple times, and by the time I left, my ankle was healed. Swelling went down dramatically from where it was, and that's just
mm,
I think that's pretty cool.
yeah, man, it was a nice experience. And being near water recently, I guess that's a theme lately for me. And you've been around me, so the theme of water has been around me a lot lately, and it's
Uber versus be spitting and
Uber Vest be spitting.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Control. You're a control freak, Dylan?
Yeah.
Really?
in what ways do you like to control things?
Uh, order. I'm
Ah,
OCD, obsessive.
Like a clean desk type of shit, or just in general?
No, not clean desk. My desk is actually a fucking mess. Um, but no, just like I have to have a certain number of tabs open on my browser.
Yeah. Are you a
Um,
Virgo?
no,
What are you?
Scorpio.
Oh.
oh, he really is a pimp, man.
Yeah.
Man, terrible, terrible pimp.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. At least you realize the whole thing that you're a control freak, and it seems like you
Oh,
got the wisdom.
absolutely.
Yeah, you got the wisdom to know that's not always going to work out to your benefit.
Oh no, most of the time it doesn't.
Best laid plans of mice and men, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's the Achilles heel of control freaks like us, is that we control to the point, or we want to control to the point to where a very specific outcome to whichever situation is expected and desired, and if it's off by 1 degree, our universe ends, in our head, right, Dylan?
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Stop calling me out like this.
See, and you said you didn't see a therapist. Yeah.
I don't. I don't like this. I didn't sign up for this.
But I think but Kai, I mean, you being around me more than Dylan on a daily basis, you would also say that it has its benefits too, being a control freak.
What ways did you see the benefits?
Well, like Dylan says, order. You see that there's a certain order to my meticulousness, and that
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons me and you get along so much is it's a very yin yang because you're very much like Baloo. He's very much like Baloo the bear. Yeah. He really is. I'll be over there like, Kai, my paperclip. It's not where it needs to be, and he's like, I mean, what did
Yeah,
you do?
never thought I'd hear a Blue's Clues reference.
Whoa,
No,
that's Jungle Book.
he just he just dated us both. See, that's what you get, Kai. That's what you get for calling me old. He just called you old. He don't even know. He just said Blues Clues, and we're talking about Jungle Book.
I've seen Jungle Book. I'm tired. I mixed
I
them
get it,
up.
man. I think we had a.
So,
Um, I
final
don't know.
thoughts.
I don't know what the fuck this was, but it was something. That's the end of the recording, Daniel.
Yeah.
Well,
Stop editing here.
well, no, I'm gonna keep going for a second. I'll say Zen in the car. We just shifted gears. That's all. Yeah, Kai.
Huh?
Oh
Closing
yeah, I
thoughts.
completely agree. And Dylan, it was very nice actually conversating with you. I know last time I was on air.
Yeah, this is your
Last.
this is your maiden Zen in the car voyage, really. When you're not on mushrooms.
But yeah, no, it was really nice talking to you, man. And
Yeah.
just thanks for the laughs, man. I really appreciate that.
All
Ah,
right.
dude, it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, and we'll keep it up going. So anyway, whatever this was, it was, and then here's the credits. Roll. And